for me, growing up, being bullied at the age of 6. Parents telling there's no way you're going to be a racing driver. You ain't got what it takes. I'm going to prove them wrong.
Imagina esto, un niño mestizo con raíces caribeñas, criado en un barrio de clase trabajadora en Inglaterra. A los 8 años recibe un kart de juguete. Ese instante marcaría el nacimiento de uno de los deportistas más importantes de nuestro tiempo, Lewis Carl Davison Lalbalestier Hamilton. El poder de creer en tus sueños. Lewis Hamilton, de Stevenage al Olimpo del automovilismo. ¿Qué pesa más, 7 títulos mundiales o las barreras que se rompieron para alcanzarlos? Hoy uniremos ambas historias, la del piloto inigualable que reescribió los récords de la Fórmula 1 y la del hombre de corazón gigante que usa su fama para cambiar el mundo. Así es Lewis Hamilton, tan rápido en la pista como influyente fuera de ella. Una odisea de superación, talento y lucha constante contra la adversidad. Esta es la travesía del hombre que desafió las probabilidades, rompió barreras raciales y reescribió los libros de historia de la Fórmula 1. ¿Listo para inspirarte? ¡Vamos! Nacido el 7 de enero de 1985 en Stevenage, Hertfordshire, Inglaterra, Lewis provenía de una familia humilde. Hijo de Anthony Hamilton, un inmigrante de Granada que trabajó como pintor y limpiador de trenes, y Carmen Lalbalestier, de nacionalidad británica. Tras la separación de sus padres, vivió con su madre y más tarde con su padre, su madrastra Linda y su medio hermano Nicholas, quien sufre parálisis cerebral.
And my dad was a tough dad. My mum was super soft. She was the one, the great mum, the softer one. My dad was someone that also faced adversity through his life. And he's like, I want to do everything in my power to create a better life for my kid so that they don't feel or experience the things that I've encountered through my journey.
Anthony Hamilton amaba a sus hijos, pero como el típico padre de los años 90, él no estaba siempre seguro de cómo demostrar ese amor.
I spent weekends with my dad, and he had no idea what to do with me. He's like, what do I do with this kid on the weekends? And we would watch the Grand Prix, so I started watching Grand Prix from I think 5, fascinated with cars, and he bought me a radio control car.
Lewis Hamilton is only 7 years old. Wow. How long have you been racing cars for already, Lewis?
About a year.
So you must be pretty good at it. Is it easy to do?
No.
And I bought the car to keep him out of my hair, actually, because he was forever wanting to do different things. And it turned out that he was extremely good at driving this little car up and down the driveway. So I ultimately then decided that, the next best thing to keep him busy would be to take him to a remote control car club.
I was the youngest there by at least 10 years, maybe 15 years. And so I had there'll be 2 crates of beer crates for me to stand on to look down on the track, and I was beating all these adults.
Aunque la mayoría lo pasó por alto, Anthony vio algo especial en Lewis, un don raro que solo tienen algunos.
Able to drive this car backwards and forwards, tight turns, whatever, and I just thought this kid has got something extremely special just in his hand-to-eye coordination.
Someone said to him, he does have such hand-to-eye coordination, how about getting him a kart? And he bought me a go-kart from the Loot newspaper. It's been owned by 5 or 6 families.
I bought this old go-kart. It's probably about 10 years old, been bent and wrapped around a post 3 times. But I remember I got that chassis home and I went down the local car shop, got some paints and everything else, and I refurbished that kart. I made it look like brand new for his Christmas.
I remember I used to wake up and spend Christmas Day with my mum and then go to my dad's in the afternoon. I got to the house and no one was there. I think they had been out shopping or something. And I looked through the letterbox and I could see all the way down the hallway to the dining room table, and there was this massive present on it. Oh, and I kind of knew that might be it. My dad just put so much pride into making this car look brand new. It was fifth hand, so it was out of a newspaper.
It was a fifth-hand car. Wow.
Yeah, and we arrived at the first practice.
Pero cuando llegaron a la pista, la bienvenida no fue cálida, fue una mirada fría y de desdén.
Formula 1 and motor racing has always been a predominantly white-dominated sport, so when we arrived on the scene, people were like, what are these guys doing here? And it wasn't an area that was diverse. We were the only black family on the scene, so experienced a lot of racism, a lot of pushback. And so just trying to fit in and struggling with that acceptance was a big obstacle to overcome.
In the past years, I've had racist names being called to me. The first time it happened, I felt really upset. I told my mum and dad, and I felt like I needed to get revenge on them. But lately, if anybody had said anything to me, I would just ignore them and get them back on the track.
Parents were not happy that we were there. They were definitely not happy when we beat them.
Yes.
Which I don't mind.
Yes.
But, my dad didn't know anything about mechanicking a go-kart, so he would go around and say, hey, can you give me some advice? And got turned away a lot by a lot of people.
A medida que Lewis empezó a ganar, el hecho de que él era la única cara negra en la pista se convirtió en un problema.
Other drivers' parents would come up to me and say, you don't belong here. Go back to wherever you came from. And it'd be that parents would come up to me and say, you just don't have it.
But no matter what was being thrown at us, my dad would say, just always do your talking on the track.
Yeah.
So I'll go out there and I'll hustle my way through to the front of the field. And then we could just walk away and didn't have to say anything.
We don't get involved with people who have problems about whether we win or what colour we are or whatever the issue might be for them. The fact is that, we're here to race, and so, we go out on the track and we do our best.
El racismo era un desafío para la familia Hamilton, pero había un problema aún más grave, que podría haber acabado con la carrera de Lewis incluso antes de comenzar.
You did not come from a background which made it easy for you. Financially, your father famously took on all these jobs to make it possible for you.
The crazy thing about racing is it's not like tennis or football, which are also very hard to get into, but there's only 22 of us in Formula One, so it's the pinnacle of the sport. It's very hard to get there. It's very expensive.
I used to earn, if I remember rightly, let's say it's probably about $30,000 worth of income back then. Well, to go go-karting was probably $60,000. After his first race, I knew I was in trouble and needed more money, so I then picked up some other jobs, some odd jobs. One of them was dishwashing, and one of them was putting up signboards for a local estate agent, which didn't pay much, but it all helped.
My dad would wake up at 5 a.m., take the train down to London, and then get on an underground to wherever you're going. And then he would get back after a long, long, hard day, and he would quickly eat something, and he would be in the garage working in the car till 2 a.m. So I didn't understand how my dad would function on 3 hours of sleep every day. But this guy just worked and worked and worked.
Yeah. What he did for me, I can never pay him back. The only thing I can do is make sure that every time I'm in the car today, with the opportunity that he's helped create, I've got to grab it with both hands and never take it for granted.
Lewis empezó fuerte en karting, ganando la mayoría de sus carreras.
But Lewis Hamilton takes the flag, and the applause of the crowd here, brilliantly judged. Lewis Hamilton it is then.
Pero su momento decisivo llegó en 1995, cuando ganó el campeonato británico de karts, una hazaña que lo condujo a una oportunidad que pocos podrían imaginar.
In 1995, I'd won the British Championship, and I was invited to the Autosport Awards.
And I was only 10, I was the youngest ever to win it. I went to the Autosport Awards and I went around asking for everyone's autographs, and but then I met Ron and I went up to him and I was very confident and I said,
Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton. I won the British Championship, and one day I want to be racing your cars.
He was probably only 3 or 4 feet tall, so he was well out of my sight line. Said my name, I looked down. There was this young chap with his hand out.
When I met Ron Dennis, I asked for his autograph in my autograph book. I asked for him to put his address down and his phone number. And he wrote in the autograph book, phone me in 9 years and we'll sort something out then. I'd like to get loads of sponsors by Ron Dennis and hopefully let me drive one of his cars.
Then the second year, Ron Dennis brought out the McLaren Mercedes Champions of the Future Series, and I entered that and won it my first year, and I won it the second year.
And it was, I think, 3 years after that, because I'd gone there every year. Ron called us, and I remember I got home from school. I was 13 years old. And my dad said to me, Ron Dennis called today, and he's offered you a sponsorship deal.
Very short and sweet, just said, look, interested to try and help Lewis, and I think he's got a bright future, and let me know how much you need and work out a schedule for the next few years, and we'll talk. That, to a degree, changed, if you want, our whole lives, because all of a sudden Lewis has got an opportunity that we never expected to make a career in motorsport.
He's not yet old enough to drive down the street, but a 13-year-old schoolboy has already been signed up by the Formula One team McLaren.
My ambition is to get to Formula 1, definitely. I enjoy the speed. I like to be with all the big guys, and I like to be making lots of money.
Pero con McLaren llegó una presión inmensa. La nueva actividad era semana tras semana y era digna de su fe.
I won everything in karts, and then I went to cars, and difficult times. You get into a new big car, crashed my first day, crashed the second day. I was getting really nervous because I was thinking, geez, they're gonna drop me. I'm not really doing too good. I remember there was a time we got home one day from a test and we sat in front of the garage and we were wondering, is this it?
Para Lewis, la presión solo empeoró como su primer año en la Fórmula 4, terminando fuera de los 3 primeros en la 5ª posición.
I was nervous every day. I'd wake up, I didn't know whether I was working on always trying to make sure I kept my deal with McLaren. I wanted to always stay in the good books with Ron, so I had to make sure I won every race. So I made sure I just won everything I could. I won every championship, really, because I was like, any second place or anything below would be, in my mind, was a failure at the time, and I might lose my job. I might lose my opportunity.
Este fue solo un revés inicial. El año siguiente, Lewis se recuperó y terminó tercero, pero su verdadero avance llegó en 2003 cuando dominaba, ganando 10 de 16 carreras y obteniendo el campeonato. Esta actuación llevó a Lewis un paso más allá, más cerca de su sueño, ascender en la Fórmula 1 y convertirse en campeón del mundo.
Hi, I'm Lewis Hamilton. I'm racing GP2 this year with ART, and I just hope that I can win the GP2 championship this year, and let's step into Formula 1 next year.
Si Lewis ganaba el campeonato, su camino se establecía rumbo a la Fórmula 1, pero lo que no esperaba era tener fuera un rival feroz. El premio estaba claro: quien ganara el campeonato tendría la oportunidad de ser compañero de Alonso en McLaren para el 2007 en la temporada de Fórmula 1. Todo estaba en juego. Ninguno de los dos podía permitirse el lujo de cometer un error. Cada carrera era una batalla.
Lewis Hamilton coming through to collect his first win at this level then. A fantastic and really dominant win by almost 20 seconds. If you consider he also had a drive-through penalty, that's one of the most dominant wins we've had at this level of motorsport. Here he comes for win number 4 of the season. Lewis Hamilton wins at Silverstone. A fantastic victory. And there is his very proud mentor and his even more proud father.
La pelea fue muy reñida. Cuando llegaron a Turquía, con Monza por delante, esta carrera lo fue todo. Una victoria significaba ganar en el enfrentamiento final. Ninguno podía permitirse el lujo de perder.
So how will this one resolve itself? Will Hamilton be able to gain some ground back on Piquet? 23 laps. Begin now.
And on that scene, the Formula 1 teams are watching you. So I was like, just every single movement that I do, I know Ron, who was my boss at the time, he's sitting on the wall watching, in his office watching. So made that mistake.
Oh, Hamilton spun! Lewis Hamilton has spun and he's got to wait for everybody.
In my mind, I was like, that's veered me off of getting to Formula 1. And so I drove back from, I think it was like 20th or something like that, to second.
Still 21 laps for a classic Hamilton fight back through the field. Hamilton's on fire here. Look at him, he's overtaking car after car. He's going to try something. You know he's going to try something. And here we go, down the inside of Lopez. What a beautiful pass. He's up to 8th now and flying. Can he let him through? Hamilton is through into 3rd place and clock is going to have to give way. Is Hamilton? Oh, he is going to try it for 2nd place. What an amazing pass by Lewis Hamilton. That was an absolutely spellbinding performance by Lewis Hamilton.
Contra todo pronóstico logró lo imposible, ganar la GP2, el campeonato en su año de novato.
We've had a long season, and to come away with the championship is what we aim for. It could have been done in a slightly better way, but I'll take it as it comes.
Next stop, Formula 1. We'll see you in F1 next year.
That's the next task, to win the World Championship.
I won the championship in GP2 in the first year. And Ron invited me around his house, and I sat with him and said, you're going to be our second driver next year. And that was just, you can imagine the smile on my face now. It was just an unreal moment. Proud to be there, and proud to be finally a driver for McLaren. I began watching Formula 1 when I think I was 6 years old. At the time, I think it was Ayrton Senna and Prost battling it out. So I knew at that time I wanted to drive one of those cars. Now I've actually got a car that's been built for me, and it's a crazy feeling. It's fantastic. I'm really excited and can't wait to get out in that car.
Cuando Lewis llegó a la Fórmula 1, no tenía intención de jugar un papel secundario. Él estaba allí para ganar, pero desde el principio McLaren dejó una cosa clara. Había un orden jerárquico.
Well, the first time we met was last year in Turkey. I was in the hotel and he was having dinner, and he had finished dinner and he came over and introduced himself. And I was really surprised. I was sort of taken back. Wow, the world champion has recognized me and came over to say hello.
Estaba en contra de un 2 veces campeón del mundo. Las probabilidades estaban en su contra.
He just won the championship in 2006. 2007, he's got number 1 in his car. I'm going to be number 2 because that's how it goes. And got to make sure that I somehow I'm going to match this guy.
A pesar de estar superado en todos los aspectos, Lewis no se dejó vencer. En cambio, sorprendió a McLaren y al mundo mostrando exactamente hasta dónde podría llegar el novato en Fórmula 1.
Stunning start by Lewis Hamilton up into third place. Alonso now has to get past Hamilton. What an amazingly composed start by Lewis Hamilton.
So obviously they were a bit cautious and I wasn't. And then I just slotted in just in front of Fernando. Obviously that was a huge boost of confidence for me.
Hamilton leads in Australia on his Formula One debut. He looks comfortable, he looks composed. He is lapping on exactly the same pace as his teammate Fernando Alonso. Just 12 laps to go in the opening round of the 2007 Formula One World Championship. The race leader Kimi Raikkonen has a 14-second lead over Fernando Alonso, who has leapfrogged Lewis Hamilton at the second round of pit stops. Really a case of experience winning out, really. But Hamilton is on target at the moment for a podium on his Formula One debut in the McLaren. Across the line he goes, and Kimi Raikkonen wins! Fabulous performance all weekend from Raikkonen. Across comes Alonso in second. Where's Lewis Hamilton? There he is. A wonderful podium for the new rising star of British motorsport. So much to be proud of there.
I remember seeing my dad, and we just couldn't believe it. Kind of pinching ourselves, you know, like it was such a long journey, and there was so many times where we doubted ourselves. There were so many times where we didn't know whether it was going to happen. There were so many times, there was so many tears and emotional outbursts, and then just so much perseverance and determination from us as a family.
Lewis Hamilton coming across in second place, one step higher up the podium than he managed in Australia. And look at the kid, absolutely loving every second of it. And Lewis Hamilton collects yet another trophy. And he looks like he was born to it, doesn't he? Another one for the trophy cabinet. He's already got 4. Another second place to add to this extraordinary debut season of Lewis Hamilton.
I was up against a 2-time world champion. They were putting all their money on the champion that was racing for the team to take them to the championship. But I was quick and I was fierce and I was hungry.
There he is. Well, he's rewriting the book of what is possible in Formula One. If he can do this after 6 races, what might he achieve in the future? Lewis Hamilton wins! Surely the first of many for Lewis Hamilton. The world is at his feet.
And I remember standing on the podium, the happiest that I'd ever been. And I remember looking down and seeing my dad smile. And that was the day that I knew that we had made it, you know. That's the day I knew that I solidified and justified all the sacrifice that he had put in. I hadn't had a lot of embraces from my dad. He was a very tough father, and he found it generally quite difficult, I would say, to show affection, right? Because he had to be the strong one, and at the time probably was like any vulnerability is weakness. Damn, I needed a hug from my dad so bad, so I remember it like it was yesterday.
A medida que se acercaba la carrera final, el campeonato mundial estaba al alcance de Lewis, pero en el ascenso y en la vida, las cosas rara vez salen según lo planeado. Al faltar 2 rondas, Lewis tenía el control. Un buen final en China, superando a otros y ganando, sería el primer novato campeón del mundo. Pero el destino tenía otros planes.
China was a tough weekend. And I guess for me, the mistake was believing that it could have been done that weekend. I led the race, and due to my tyres getting pretty bad, I wasn't able to keep Kimi behind me, but at the end of the day, it wasn't really too important.
And he's not too worried about Raikkonen winning this race. If Hamilton finishes second, as long as Alonso finishes behind him, he's still going to be the world champion.
And we stayed out for as long as possible. I was on the radio saying, I've got to come in, these tyres are completely finished, I'm going to come off if I don't come in soon.
Just looks, I don't know if there's a piece of paper stuck on his right rear or if it's down to the canvas. Hamilton getting very, very wide in turns 1 and 2. He's struggling for grip out there. He's got to come in. I think he's got some delamination on that right rear tyre. Surely the team have seen that.
And coming from the dry track to the wet pit lane, I hadn't taken that into account, that the pit lane would still be wet. And he came in, not attacking too much.
Here comes Lewis Hamilton. He goes straight on into the gravel trap. Can he keep the wheels spinning? Can he get some momentum going? No, he can't. It's all going to get away from him. And, well, the chance to leave here as the world champion seems to have gone away. He was struggling like mad on those tyres out there. And they didn't bring him in, the McLaren team, any earlier. And this is the result of it.
But I remember my heart just dropping, sinking to the lowest point, and almost stopping when I was in that car in the gravel. And I was just hoping that the guys would be able to push me out, but there was no way. They're pushing my wheels, and it wasn't going to happen. And even though I could have probably sat there for another couple of minutes, I knew I'd be a lap 2 down, and so I had to sort of give in. That's a mistake. Let's move on. So I kept my chin up, as always, because that's the lesson my dad's always taught me. And I sucked it in and came back to the next race.
So here comes Kimi Räikkönen to record his 14th career victory, his 5th of this season, and a very important one that takes him through with the World Championship fight to Brazil in 2 weeks' time. Fernando Alonso is going to come through and finish in 2nd place. He too still has a very real chance of taking that World Championship crown away from Lewis Hamilton. It all comes down to this: a season in 1 day. 3 men, 71 laps, a World Championship for one of them at the end of it all. Right to the top, here we go, Massa goes across, Hamilton covers and Räikkönen looks like he's gone round the outside of it. Mark Webber has had a wonderful start. Alonso side by side with Lewis Hamilton, and Alonso pushes his way past. That was a hesitant start by Lewis Hamilton.
I kept pushing and pushing, but then all of a sudden the car just stopped, shifting down. I think I was in 5th gear, and the thing just went into neutral.
Oh no! Is that Hamilton slowing? It is! The top of the screens! Lewis Hamilton's in trouble! What's happening? His car is grinding to a halt. Is this the end of the World Championship dream for Lewis Hamilton?
There was never a point in that race that I thought, my championship's over, I can't win. And for me, that's the most important thing, because anything can happen, but at the end of the day, I was last by a good 30 seconds. Most people would give up, but I didn't, and I pushed right up until the checkered flag.
Pero incluso después de intentar lo mejor que pudo, Lewis no pudo compensar el tiempo que perdió.
Hamilton 7th now, just under 10 seconds behind the BMW. It's been a heck of a storming drive back, considering how much he lost to be just 10 seconds behind Nick Heidfeld, but it's not enough. Kimi Räikkönen wins the Brazilian Grand Prix, his first victory here, the 15th of his career, and by no doubt the most important. Massa finishes in 2nd place. Alonso is going to come in 3rd, and the dream is over for Lewis Hamilton.
I lost it by 1 point. I was leading the championship by 17 points down to the 2nd race, and then I had a big disastrous off, which lost me a lot of points, 10 points. And then in the last race, my car just broke down, and so I lost it by 1 point. And this has been my dream since I was a kid. And started to fumble, started to make mistakes. It started going the wrong way, lost. It just slipped through my fingers. And I take it so personally, the pain that I felt in my heart was just unbearable. And I didn't know how, and straight away you get out of the car and you're in front of cameras.
I'm going to come back fitter, more relaxed, more experienced, and keep our heads high and look forward to next year.
But it's been a fantastic year. We lost it by 1 point. We'll come back next year, and if we don't win it next year, we'll win it the year after. But one thing's for sure, Lewis Hamilton is here to stay.
Look, I mean, I had my first season of Formula 1, and I came 2nd by 1 point to Kimi Räikkönen, who's been racing for 6 or 7 years in Formula 1. So, and I beat the world champion, the 2-time world champion. So, if you look, you got to take the positives from it and move on. It was a great season, way better than anyone had expected. And I'm now in my 2nd season. I've got a much better feel for who I am and what I've got to do, and my confidence is higher than ever. So it's still going to be very tough. Every year is going to be tough, but I feel I can do a better job this year.
En 2007, Lewis era imparable. Todo lo que tocaba se convertía en oro. Pero 2008 fue una historia diferente. Fue una pelea desde el principio. Errores graves, luchas inesperadas. Nada fue fácil.
Lewis Hamilton, who is struggling a little bit at the moment. He had a problem in his pit stop and he lost about 12 seconds in that stop, and really annoyingly for him, having done everything he needed to on the track to leapfrog Mark Webber, he's come out behind him again. Well, here comes Kimi Räikkönen, the 28-year-old, the reigning world champion, to take his 16th career victory, to equal the great Sterling Moss in the all-time records. Räikkönen, for the second time in his career, wins in Malaysia, and he is right back in the championship hunt now.
And the weekend for Lewis didn't start in the best kind of fashion with that heavy accident he suffered in practice on Friday.
Hamilton was pushing hard towards the end of second practice in Bahrain, but he got it very wrong over the curbs, lost control of the car and slammed into the barrier.
You know, it's a minor mistake, which can be very costly, but at least I found the limit. And the great thing is when you bounce back from something like that, it makes you even more determined to go back out and prove everyone that you're not a wuss. You can take chances like that and bounce back and be even stronger.
Yeah, here we go then. 57 laps of the Bahrain Grand Prix. Go! Out comes Kovalainen around Hamilton. Hamilton's lost a lot of ground and Massa has already passed Kubica into turn one. A dream start then for Massa. A nightmare for Lewis Hamilton. But how many places has Hamilton dropped? With Lewis Hamilton down in 10th place, battling with Fernando Alonso ahead of him.
Hamilton tucked up behind the last person on the grid he'd want to be anywhere near. Fernando, Hamilton's up in the air.
He's knocked up the front wing. Lewis Hamilton's hit the back of his former teammate and his arch enemy, Fernando Alonso, and his World Championship hopes here of scoring good points are going out of the window very rapidly, with Ferrari looking very strong at the front. He has opened his account in the strongest possible way in the third Grand Prix of the year. Felipe Massa again wins in Bahrain, the second year in a row, his 6th career victory, all of which have come in a Ferrari.
So the race leader comes into the pits, the soft tyres come off, and what are they putting on? Another set of soft tyres, so that's all going fine. The Williams of Rosberg, Lewis gets away, and that looked like a fairly heavy fuel load, I must say. The fuel hose was on for a good 8 or 9 seconds.
Oh, no, but the pit lane's closed and Hamilton has hit the back of Kimi Räikkönen. Presumably the red light was on, it's green now. I'd love to know whether it was red when Ferrari stopped, but Hamilton has smashed into the back of Räikkönen on their way out of the pit stop. And can you believe it? Hamilton, who was on target 6.8 seconds clear before this safety car, is now unstrapping his belt.
Montreal wasn't as disappointing as perhaps it was for other people.
As Lewis walks back, he knows it's his mistake. He knows it's a mistake that's cost him quite dearly. It's also taken out his main championship rival, of course, Kimi Räikkönen.
For me, as I said, I do put a lot of pressure on myself. And if you're in a lead and you crash out into the wall or make a big mistake on the track, then you're really ticked off yourself. And it was a kind of slightly different scenario. And I was a bit baffled by how it all happened. But that's just one of those things. And I got back home, it's out the window. Forgot about it, focusing on the next race.
Teammate Lewis Hamilton qualified 3rd yesterday, but with his 10th place penalty for the accident he caused in Montreal, he moved back to 13th on the grid. At the moment, Hamilton is down in 13th place. It's Räikkönen from Massa as Hamilton lines up the Toro Rosso of Sebastian Vettel into the first fast chicane. He runs wide, a bit ragged, but he gets through. But did he take an advantage from it?
Key piece of information. Car 22 under investigation by the stewards for that move, and that almost certainly means a drive-through penalty, doesn't it? Drive-through for car 22, gaining an advantage by missing the apex of turn 7, and he's got to have within the next 3 complete laps, he's got to drive through what is thankfully a very short pit lane.
We start the race further behind, then you're in with turn 5 at Magny-Cours, it's easy to crash with people. Managed to stay out of trouble, but then I got another drive-through penalty, so I'm at the back and got no points.
Felipe Massa takes his 3rd victory of this season, the 8th of his career. He wins the French Grand Prix. And Lewis Hamilton is going to come through in 10th place. No points for him this afternoon.
Were you feeling that they were beating up on you at this point, that it was unfair?
When you're receiving penalties and stuff like that, no one likes to have penalties for sure, so you always feel the world's against you, but what can you do? You just have to live with it and deal with it.
A mitad de temporada, Hamilton estaba teniendo problemas. La duda se apoderó de él. Los críticos comenzaron a descartarlo, pero se negó a rendirse. En cambio, se levantó más fuerte, más decidido que nunca a demostrar lo que era el mejor piloto de la parrilla.
It was very special for me, and then it rained, and that was really a gift because I've always been strong in the wet. I've won pretty much every race I've done in the wet except for Brazil.
And you can see he's right up behind the rear wing now. It's a lot of work for Hamilton to keep this car pointing in a straight line. On the run down the Hangar Straight there towards Stowe. Up to 190 miles an hour, and this is where Mansell passed Piquet, and now Hamilton has gone past Kovalainen in an equally memorable pass. So many questions asked about his commitment, about his distractions. Could he handle the pressure? Was he man enough? He came here to Silverstone, and he has shown them all with one of the great drives at Silverstone. Lewis Hamilton wins the British Grand Prix. A fantastic performance, a mesmerising drive. At times he was 5 or 6 seconds a lap quicker than men on the same tyres. Stunning drive by Lewis Hamilton. And Hamilton's got a lot of work to do. A certain victory would appear to have been snatched away from him.
Yes, if Hamilton wants to win this race, he's got to pass Kovalainen. He's got to pass Massa and Piquet.
Here we go.
This is it, surely. He's got the beautiful slipstream move there. Massa will have to go inside. He'll have to stay inside, otherwise Hamilton will just steal it. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to touch, but surely he's got it done now. He just pushes him outside, perfectly fair. And Massa gave him more space than he needed in the end.
And now Nelson Piquet gets the sinking feeling. He's only just over 2 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton.
Okay, Nelson, you've got Hamilton behind you now. You need to keep pushing.
Here comes Hamilton then down the inside for the lead of the Grand Prix to take it back. He lost it under the safety car. He steams up the inside. He almost makes contact with his old rival from the GP2 days, but he makes it stick. And Lewis Hamilton is back in the lead of the German Grand Prix. Another brilliant passing manoeuvre. Lewis Hamilton, who had every opportunity to win it in the early stages, almost had it taken away from him. And he had to go out and win it back again. And he has done so with a fantastic performance, and he will come through now to take his 4th victory of this season. A wonderful victory for Lewis Hamilton, and McLaren's first here at Hockenheim for 10 years.
La pelea por el campeonato entre Massa y Hamilton estaba muy peleado. De cara a la carrera final, cualquiera de los dos podría tomar el título. En Brasil, Hamilton logró un top 5 para garantizarse el título mundial. Massa solo tenía una opción, la victoria. El estado estaba preparado para uno de los enfrentamientos más dramáticos en la historia de la Fórmula 1.
Brazil. This is the place where the championships get decided these days, and today either Lewis Hamilton or Felipe Massa will join them in that elite group. So the 2008 Formula 1 World Championship will be decided here, right now. Massa on the left, Trulli on the right. Look out for Hamilton on the pit wall side. It's a cautious getaway from Hamilton. He's running down. Raikkonen is in front of him. Massa is scampering away at the front. His lead now is 2 seconds. Lewis Hamilton is comfortable to run in 4th place if he finishes the Grand Prix there. Fernando Alonso in the Renault has got in front of them. And where has that put Lewis Hamilton in the pecking order? He's behind Vettel, he's behind Alonso as well, he's lost.
Yeah, they constantly said to me, you can't let Vettel pass, you need to stay ahead of him, you have to stay ahead of him. So that was a lot of pressure, and I mean, I was able to stay ahead of him for a certain period of time, but my tyres went off quite quick, and then he was all over me. It was impossible.
He's a lap down, he's unlapping himself, he would argue he's entitled to do that. Hamilton lets him through. So he's got grip, and Hamilton's lost it. Oh my goodness me! Vettel's taken the place, and that could cost Hamilton the World Championship.
Oh, it's
now raining hard, and that means Glock is going to be in trouble. He's in 4th place, and with just 2 laps to go.
I felt sick, and the guy was right ahead of me. It was Sebastian Vettel. He was right ahead of me, but there was nothing I could do to get closer to him. And the laps, it's 5 laps left, 4 laps left, 3 laps left, and I couldn't do anything for the life of me, to save my life. I can pull him in and overtake him.
Vettel is driving away from him, and we're entering the last lap shortly. Race leader Felipe Massa has just started the last lap. It's all about whether Hamilton wants it, whether he feels he can get back on Vettel. The frustration must be colossal. He can see the back of that Toro Rosso, and that is the situation. Hamilton and Massa would be tied on points, but by virtue of the extra win for Massa, it would give the Brazilian driver the World Championship, and only one lap remains.
I couldn't do anything even to save my mother's life. If my mum was over there on the edge of the cliff, I had to pass him in order to. I couldn't get past him. I couldn't get past this guy, and for those laps, I just wasn't giving up. But I could see that dream fading away.
You can see that the back of Vettel's car swirling away. Hamilton just doesn't seem to have the pace when it matters. He needs 5th or better to win the World Championship. He is currently 6th, and he runs one up late on the braking. Now we're expecting Massa any time now. He comes through to claim his 6th victory of the season. He has done everything he needed to do, and we wait now to find out who will be the world champion of 2008. Can Hamilton do anything? Can he run it up the inside of Vettel? Only a few corners to go now, and desperation starts to creep in for Lewis Hamilton.
And then the last lap, some guy was on slick tires, I was on wets. He was stumbling. There's quite a few of them were stumbling. I was overtaking cars here and there. I had no idea where I was. I thought they were back markers.
And is that clock going slowly?
It is, it's clock! Oh my goodness me! Hamilton's back in position again. 1,100,000 local hearts sink in the grandstands. It's handed the place back to Hamilton. He comes through, and if I'm absolutely right, I'm sure that he is going to claim 5th place, which is all he needs to do to become the 2008 Formula One World Champion, Lewis Hamilton. And you will, well, the Ferrari boys are celebrating.
They both think they won, but Ferrari
are wrong. They're absolutely wrong. Hamilton's finished 5th, and Lewis, the father, has just realised that he celebrated a little bit too early. You will never see a more dramatic conclusion to any motor race, let alone a Grand Prix, than that. And the result of it all is that in the most harem-squarum way possible, he doesn't make it easy for himself, does he? Lewis Hamilton is the world champion.
Unbelievable.
For so many years, Anthony, just put into words your emotions right now.
What can I say? I can't say anything. Oh.
Just tell us about the tension of those final few laps, Anthony.
I really can't find any words. Great. Absolutely great. Absolutely great. Absolutely great.
Guys, I'm speechless. I'm speechless. That was so freaking close. But you guys did a fantastic job all season, and you deserve this. So this is for you and to my family. Thank you for all supporting me and believing in me. You're the best.
And at that last lap, my whole life, like all the struggles, questioning whether you were going to make it or not, just all those doubts, all those fears kind of flashed by me, through my eyes and came across the line. And I was like, I did it. And I want the kids out there to know that you can do it too.
En 2013, sorprendió al mundo al dejar McLaren para unirse a Mercedes. Con el cambio técnico de 2014 y el nuevo motor híbrido comenzó su era dorada. El resultado, una etapa de dominio sin precedentes. Es mucho más que un piloto. Ha utilizado su plataforma global para defender la diversidad, la equidad racial, el medio ambiente y la salud mental. Tras la trágica muerte de George Floyd, alzó la voz, arriesgando su carrera al arrodillarse con una camiseta de Black Lives Matter. Criticó a la Fórmula 1 por su falta de empatía y la tachó de clasista. En consecuencia, Mercedes y el resto de los pilotos se unieron a su llamado y la Fórmula 1 creó la campaña We Race as One para promover la inclusión de género y el fin del racismo. Su compromiso con el medio ambiente lo llevó a convertirse en vegano en 2020, promoviendo prácticas sostenibles dentro y fuera de la pista. Su activismo ha generado conciencia e influido a muchos en la industria. 2021. Nombrado Caballero del Imperio Británico por el Príncipe Carlos. 2022 recibió la ciudadanía honoraria brasileña, reconociendo la profunda influencia de Ayrton Senna y el apoyo del país. 2022 se convirtió en copropietario de los Denver Broncos, NFL, en la adquisición deportiva más cara de la historia, $4.650 millones. Música. Colaboró con Cristina Aguilera bajo el seudónimo XNDA en la canción Pipe. Cine. Fundó su productora Don Apollo Films y desarrolla un documental sobre su viaje en Fórmula 1 y una película de Fórmula 1 con Brad Pitt y Apple TV+. Fue invitado a Top Gun Maverick, pero lo rechazó por su agenda. Moda. Colaboró con Tommy Hilfiger y lanzó su propia línea, Plus 44, reconocido en el Business of Fashion 500, nuevo embajador de Lululemon. Autos. Posee una envidiable colección Shelby GT500 1967, Ferrari 599 SA Aperta, Mercedes AMG Project One, McLaren P1, Pagani Sonda 760. Número 44. Su número de karting a los 8 años y el número de matrícula de su padre. En Brasil, los niños lo llaman Tío Luis, les regala karts y les repite, el sueño de cena viven ustedes. Mientras, en Londres, su restaurante vegano Neat Burger alimenta a familias pobres. A pesar de su éxito, Hamilton ha enfrentado críticas y desafíos en su vida personal, hablando abiertamente sobre la presión como figura pública y la importancia de cuidar su salud mental. Mantiene su vida amorosa en privado, aunque su relación más conocida fue con Nicole Scherzinger, que duró 8 años hasta 2015. Tras ella, ha sido vinculado con modelos y celebridades, pero sin confirmar oficialmente ninguna relación. Después de una temporada 2021 agridulce, donde finalizó subcampeón tras una controvertida decisión en Abu Dhabi y una estadística peor en 2022, Lewis se recuperó en 2023, sumando 6 podios y 234 puntos, terminando tercero en la clasificación general. Sin embargo, acumuló una racha de 45 carreras sin una victoria, la más larga de su carrera. Pero el espíritu de Lewis es inquebrantable. En febrero de 2024, un anuncio sacudió el mundo de la F1. Lewis Hamilton fichó por Ferrari para 2025. A los 40 años, buscará su ansiado 8º título mundial, el que lo convertiría en el piloto más laureado de todos los tiempos. Quiero ganar el 8º título con el equipo de mis sueños, dijo. Su padre Anthony lo vio firmar ese contrato, el mismo hombre que una vez vendió sus discos para comprarle un kart. El círculo se cierra. El niño de Stevenage sigue creyendo, porque como él dice, la fe mueve montañas. Lewis Hamilton en números. 2008, campeón mundial de Fórmula 1. A los 23 años, campeón más joven de la historia, hasta ese momento, superando a Fernando Alonso. Primer piloto de color en ser campeón. Récords en su debut, 6 poles en su primer año, récord absoluto, y 4 victorias. 6 títulos con Mercedes, 2014, 2015, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020. 2020, temporada del coronavirus. Igual el récord de Michael Schumacher, con 7 títulos mundiales. Récords imbatibles, más de 100 victorias, más de 100 poles y más de 180 podios en Fórmula 1. Consistencia. En 2019, 17 podios en 21 carreras. En 2020, terminó todas las carreras en los puntos. 2023, $35 millones. 2024, $45 millones. 2025, $60 millones. Más de 300 carreras disputadas. Será el piloto más longevo en Ferrari, desde Juan Manuel Fangio. Lewis Hamilton no solo ha conquistado la F1, ha conquistado corazones, ha desafiado prejuicios y ha marcado una época. Desde un kart en Navidad hasta ser un ícono global, su historia es un ejemplo de cómo el talento, el trabajo duro y la convicción pueden cambiar el mundo. ¿Qué prefieren recordar? ¿Sus récords o sus actos de amor? Quizás la respuesta sea ambas, porque este es el legado de un hombre que corrió más rápido que el viento, pero nunca más rápido que su corazón. ¿Logrará su 8º título con Ferrari? El destino aún no ha dado su veredicto, pero su legado ya es eterno. Comenta cómo te ha inspirado Lewis Hamilton. No olvides suscribirte para más historias de éxito y superación. ¡Hasta la próxima!